What is up, everybody? Happy Saturday indeed. Clean Cheap Shots. Welcome, everybody, to episode, 277 of Hobby Hotline. This week, of course, you got myself, the DH. Joining me, we've got Junkwax Hero Mike with us. What's going on, man?
Hey, good to be here. This is actually my last appearance on Hobby Hotline.
No way.
Whoa.
Sad,
Oh,
sad to
well,
say, but
that's well. Way to dampen the mood, like right away. No.
no, it's good. It's time for me to move on and do some other things. It's been awesome. It's been a great opportunity, and I've enjoyed it a lot.
Understandable. Understandable. Well, also joining us, we have the man himself, Dr. B, Mr. Beckett. How you doing?
Great, guys.
Wonderful. Love the background today. Love it. Beautiful stuff as always. Always interesting stuff in that background.
Try to rotate it a little bit, but yeah.
Understandable. What's going on, TCD? How's it going? Thanks everyone for tuning in. Once again, this is Hobby Hotline, the call-in show where you guys really control the show. So please let us know if there's anything that you would like to talk about. We would absolutely love to have you call in, especially on Mike's send-off show. You know, let's have some guests. Let's send him off right, have a fun show. But please leave all your questions, comments, anything along those lines. And of course, make sure to head on over to our YouTubes, hit that like, subscribe, and all that stuff as well. But guys, we'll dive right into it with some of the bigger news that happened this week, and that's eBay continuing to build out, I don't know, just a massive, niche in the hobby and coming to an agreement with ComC. They're going to be working even further with ComC, setting up a relationship with them. I know their live platform. I know a couple of people that use it. It's been taking off like crazy. I know people have had amazing success on that. Now you've got them, furthering their relationship with ComC, but with a pretty big partnership. What do you guys think about all this and where eBay is going in relationship with the hobby? Because you don't see them doing this with other other markets that they sell stuff in. You're not seeing a ton of partnerships yet in the hobby. You're seeing them really build stuff out.
Want me to go?
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, eBay and ComC are really the only two places that I buy from. I do buy a little, obviously, from card shows and whatnot a little bit too. But seeing these two powerhouses in buying and selling partner together makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep.
So I don't think we know yet. I was doing a little research. I don't think we know what the partnership means, except that eBay's investing in ComC. So I think we'll wait and see.
Well, we do know that eBay's not taken over.
No.
They're investing in, and it seems like Tim, happy for Tim, and the team and Julia and the owners and the employees over there at ComC. It seems like eBay's all the language suggests that Tim is still in control. It's going to be business as usual, except they're getting a boost from this relationship that's going to be financial plus. So I'm very excited about it. Like you, Mike, I think it's eBay and ComC are the two main places where I sell cards.
Yeah.
And the fact they're going to work more closely together. The Philly show announced that eBay was going to be a sponsor. Well, I think that means ComC is the sponsor too. So I think ComC could be the hobby facing aspect of eBay. I see it very positively.
No, I agree with that. And I do think that ComC is going to be exactly what you said, a lot of the face of eBay, because ComC sponsors a lot of shows. They're sponsoring Denver card shows this weekend, along with, I believe, the Philly show as well. I believe they're or one of those shows up north. They do a lot of sponsorship with shows all the time already. They are the two biggest platforms, at least, to sell cards. I don't use ComC a ton. I've used it a lot. I buy a lot from there, and I love buying from ComC. But I buy a lot more than I sell. But, you've seen ComC really build themselves out as well. And so it does make sense for me, especially with so much. They're already so intertwined. I don't see any, shocking news out of this. Like you said, we haven't really found out exactly what that partnership is, but I would assume it's just to continue, building out their growth and investing. We did have one question from Mad City Brew. So, are fees going to go up for sellers? What do you guys think? Do you think we're gonna see fees go up for sellers because of this?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's more of an appetite for fees going up because other companies have gone up closer. I think eBay averages around 13%,
Yeah.
and other companies are also right around 13% now. And I would expect eBay to say, "We're the best. Let's increase our fees."
Well, they kind of already did that with adding in. I mean, really, unless you're a huge store these days, you've got to utilize the promoted listings aspect in some way, shape, or form, which is another at least 2%, added to it. And that's just to be at the bottom. But I mean, I do a lot of testing because I'm not a huge seller, but when I do sell, it's stuff that I want to move. So I've tested promoted and non-promoted, and it has a massive, massive increase for those big players, not the rarely searched stuff. So they kind of already did it secretly a little bit, at least if you wanted to move stuff. But I could easily see them going up. But Dr. B, what do you think? You think we'll see some increase there?
I hope not. And
Yeah.
the reason I hope not is just the language in the press release. Is,
Right.
from the ComC aspect, they're trying to use this investment, I believe, to drive down their costs and to increase their volume.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't necessarily have to raise their prices. Um, there's going to be additional economies of scale, I think. So, and again, some of the things they're working on, if they can ID the cards and get them in and store them and all the things that cost, uh, they're automating. They're automating like crazy, and I think
Yes.
that's what I'm reading in the announcement, and that's what I'm hoping for. So, if they were to just to raise, when you raise prices too much, it invites other competitors. Now, eBay is a behemoth, and ComC is in a sense within the hobby, but
Yeah.
they I think their formula is working, as indicated by eBay being interested in being a quote unquote partner.
Yeah, absolutely. Stuke right there. He's looking into ComC now just because of this. So good deal. It's a great platform. I'll tell you that.
Hey,
I know a lot of
Drew,
people that love it.
Drew, one more thing, and Mike, if they did raise prices,
Yeah.
it's kind of when they talk about reforming Social Security and Medicare and things like that for retiring people. They
Uh-huh.
usually like to grandfather in the people that are already there and not
Right.
mess with that. But the new people coming on pay the higher fees. If that happens, if new submissions are more expensive or storage, then people that are already there may be grandfathered in. And so that's advantage to the former people. So I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping that this investment is gonna make strengthen ComC to be able to provide the service without raising prices.
It would be great if we could get rid of that verification code every time you try to log in to
Yeah.
I
ComC on the web.
hate that.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Maybe that's coming from eBay though, in the sense
Yeah.
that they're saying if we're going to invest in this, we want to be doubly sure that there's not going to be any funny business with people getting in on other people's accounts. So it may be that because this happened about the same time. I hate it, Mike. I agree, but they know that people hate it, and it could be mandated by eBay. If we're going to participate in this, you've got to have this whatever two-factor identification thing, which is miserable.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And yes, guys, I see a lot of people asking about ComC, and I know there's probably a lot of people that don't know a ton about it or may not have used the platform yet. As Mike Summers said, Dr. Beckett and him have done a lot of podcasts on this. Rich Klein is someone else who can give you a lot of information on that. What's the other Run Good Life as well also does. James Good does a lot of great stuff. If you guys do want to get a little more information than just what's out on the website, there's a ton of stuff out there. I'll drop Mike's episodes right there, Mike's got them ready, keyed up and ready to go. So I like that. So, check some of that out. Mike has some incredible information on that and does a great job of showing you how you can utilize that platform, because it is a wonderful platform. And it kind of goes into a question we have here in the comments. Sean Red asks, I'm wondering if eBay saw CompC as a threat to branch off and do their own thing, and that's why they got with them. And I want to know what you guys have to think about this, but personally, I don't really think that was the case, because like we said, they've had a relationship for a while. And ComC is a massive seller on eBay already, and eBay puts, a little the way, a ComC listing is set up compared to a regular one looks a little different. You can tell it's kind of worked in together. So they already had that relationship. Now at the beginning, maybe, but I don't think eBay really ever sees anyone as a major threat like that. I think eBay, just like Dr. Beckett said, as they're building out the trading card side of everything, ComC can be that kind of face of that for eBay. And so I think they just saw a lot of value in ComC and who they are and what they offer, and they already had a relationship.
Well, the other thing is, again, it's prominent in the PR release, or the notification, is that they really believe, and other manufacturers have believed in ComC's ability to distribute and fulfill tangible product.
Yeah.
And so they're a go-to source of choice for shipping out cards. They've cleaned up. They had big problems a year and a half ago. They got way behind. Now I think they're caught up. They've really staffed up. And now that that's in place, they're a good place for that. I mean, eBay, when they do their authentication program, when you're shipping it somewhere, again, ComC is a trusted place that has their act together now on shipping and receiving and fulfilling and distributing.
Yeah, and I do love
at scale too.
Yes. And like you said, they did really do a good job of catching up. But one thing I love, and I saw it in the comments, and I was going to mention this because they do it at a lot of collecticons. They do it at a lot of the shows that I work throughout the year. Now they have it set up to where you can actually drop off cards at shows. So you can actually, save on the shipping, save on that side of everything. If you're someone that hits a lot of shows, apparently eBay is also set up at the Philly show this weekend. ComC, I know, is in taking cards there, but they're also doing it at Denver at a lot of different shows, and they do it all year around. So, they've made it even easier for people as well. Let's see what we've got in the chat here. Yep, and vaulting, like Mike Summers says, the ComC aspect, that's one thing I haven't used yet, but I'm going to start using ComC a lot more, I think, because of where I've kind of shifted my selling to. But it's something that I haven't done too much until now. What's up, Abel in Vegas? White Sox team, trading card. What's up? That 70s card show. No more vaults. I think we can all agree there's probably way too many vaults. I don't know what you guys think, but I would, put an end to them as well. I do think there's way too many, but someone like ComC and things like that, that's a different aspect because of the volume, because of the scale that they have. I think it makes sense there. But yes, exactly, Mike, that ComC is effectively a vault already. Yes. And they really were, if you want to think about it, they probably would be considered, I don't know, maybe the original one, because that's really what they were doing. I don't know, before anybody. But yeah. Vaults are the reason I'm being cremated. There you go, sir.
We have 64 people watching. I'm convinced half of them are here just for John's comments.
Probably. I would probably agree with that. All right. So yes, eBay and ComC, guys. We'll see what happens with all of that. But some big news. Once again, guys, if there's anything in the hobby going on this week that you want to talk about, or if you'd like to call in, sadly, this is Mike's last episode of Hobby Hotline. So call in, hang out for a little bit. We'd love you to. post a link here in the chat for you, but let us know if there's anything in the hobby that you'd like to discuss or anything that stuck out to you this week. But guys, we'll move on now. There was something I wanted to ask and kind of bring up and talk to you guys about because it came out yesterday. And there's a lot that it could have a pretty big impact on. And Brian Gray came out on his social media and basically stated that it hasn't been announced yet, but it's going to be announced soon that the top quarterbacks from next year's class, Caleb, Bo, and Penix, all of them have already agreed in principle or have already signed a contract with Tops. So yet again, next year, there will be no licensed autographs. This would also stop companies like Wildcard and the third-party companies that get these guys, in a little bit early from getting any autographs of them as well. And, there's a lot of impact that you've seen this year with the quarterbacks not having autographs in the NFL market, at least what it's done with boxes. What do you guys think about if Brian's saying that this is 100% true? I doubt he would go out and make videos like this if he didn't have some pretty strong sources. What do you think? What do you think Big Bri, the deal guy, is 1 Million Cubs Project says yes? What do you think if Big Bri's correct and these guys have in fact already signed? What do you think about this and this move by Fanatics?
What do we expect? It's the way they do business. They're very aggressive. In fact, I see it as Fanatics more than Tops. I think Fanatics can throw a package at these rising quarterbacks. They might not all hit, but we don't know which ones could be big stars. They all could be, or you just don't know. But they're gambling on bringing them into their ecosystem, which doesn't just include Tops. I think it includes the memorabilia, jerseys, all kinds of stuff. Anything Fanatics wants to do that's related to them. I think it's maybe going to be a little bit more like Upper Deck. When Upper Deck picked up Michael Jordan, they pretty much controlled Michael Jordan into the organized hobby.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James, same thing until now, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky, nothing gets out that's not through them. And I'm afraid that's what Fanatics is doing. It's the playbook has been established, and it's a quarterback centric hobby in the football world anyway. So it's not unexpected. I don't know how many zeros are there, or whether it's participatory, whether they get a lump sum or they get a cut out of some of these things. I think Fanatics can get very creative and put together a package that nobody else can.
Yeah, Abel in Vegas has a good comment there. You can't fault Fanatics for paying them more for exclusivity. If it's an offer they can't refuse, they will sign. Yeah. And Fanatics has the relationships with these athletes. They have the most money. They want to have this kind of enterprise product where these athletes are promoting all of their products and they can throw beyond card money at them.
No, I totally agree, and I don't fault Fanatics at all for doing it. Like you said, Dr. B, it's what they do, and why wouldn't they want to do it? So, it makes sense that they would want to do that. And like you said, they can offer a lot more than Panini can offer, or someone like that with, just cards. Fanatics has a lot more out there that really, that they can offer. But, looking at it from, not from the actual signing side, but from the hobby side, this could have Fanatics is taking over the football hobby here in a couple of years. Tops is going to be in control of the football market. The football market has suffered tremendously from what we've seen this year. And now we're going to get it again, which is one of the biggest draft classes in a long time. Next year is going to be one of the bigger and better draft classes in a long time. And if those names are already off the board, and I'm assuming some other names might go off the board as well if they're already making these deals, what's the NFL market going to look like? And when Fanatics gets it, great, you got these guys, but they're not rookies anymore. You're not utilizing them that well, the ones you have this year, at least, outside of a couple of little releases and Ginter, things like that. You're not utilizing the autographs at all in unlicensed stuff this year. So do you want to take over a hobby that's got 2 years struggling so bad? Like, they're knocking this football hobby heavily down with this stuff, and next year especially, because like I said, it's a really strong class.
Well, there'd be maybe more to the story, Drew. You know, basically when exclusives were created over the decades, they
Yeah,
usually were time limited, or they were restricted in some way. That you got a window. Brian Gray wasn't signing athletes and celebrities to lifetime contracts. I don't.
right.
And so, but Fanatics can do that, and it's probably it could be products and services. It's going to be, like I said, the upper deck model of a deeper relationship, and so it's not just a problem for Panini. It's any draft pick or you know less, not the major manufacturers, but the second tier of manufacturers. So that's why Brian's sensitive to that, because the way
Yeah.
exclusives are done now is a game changer.
Oh, I completely agree. I do. I've seen what it's done to the football market this year, and I just am afraid if one of the best draft classes in a long time ends up with, the same issues, the same problems, unless, like Ziggy says, he says Tops will have NFL by the summer. I don't know about that. There's a lot that could happen on that. I think if that were to happen, I think you'd see some people probably come out right away and probably try and postpone that and push that back as far as possible. I think it's going to be a little harder, than you think. But what do you think, Dr. B? Do you think they have them by the summer? Do you think they've got it? They think they have them for next year?
Well, it, definition of them. I mean, basically, if they're signing these players to exclusive arrangements, they can do stuff with them. Now, a broader thing with NFL or the players and stuff like that remains to be seen. But don't put it past them. I mean,
Yeah.
they're in the business of making money, and I think they want to serve the hobby, but they want to sell stuff, and so they've got to produce it. And if there's an opening in terms of the contractual arrangements, they're going to exploit it. And so, are they going to do something next summer or this coming summer?
Yeah.
I bet they're going to try to,
No.
and it won't be illegal. I don't think it'll. They don't. Nobody does think. Well, sometimes people push things out there, but that they're going to do something that they believe is defensible.
Right. Yeah. Might.
Keating puts up a comment. The football market is dead because the only position collectible are QBs.
Yeah.
1 out of 22 positions being collectible is not a sustainable model. I don't collect football cards, but I find a little fault in that comment because you can collect any of those. I think what John's trying to say is that you can't make a profit off of the other positions. Running backs aren't making you any money. Wide receivers aren't making you any money. It's only the quarterbacks.
Yes.
He's got a point.
It is very much a quarterback driven league and a one player or a one position driven market compared to any other sport. I will agree with that. But I do think a byproduct of having some of these exclusive guys and having some of this stuff not have autographs, you're seeing a lot of people collect a lot of the other players this year that aren't quarterbacks. That's the stuff that's going for the most. The Bijan Robinsons, the Pukas, the stuff that, the running backs, the wide receivers, you've started to see people go after them a little bit more. Randy Moss's market, for example, is heated up quite a bit. But it is mostly a quarterback driven league. That is, I would say that's correct, but I think you're starting to see an increase in other positions.
Absolutely. They lead the parade, but there is a parade.
Right.
People don't only just collect quarterbacks, but the speculation and the big bucks are going to the quarterbacks. And to me, that's a subset of the overall hobby. It's an important subset. It gets a lot of the headlines, there are a lot of people collecting players that are not quarterbacks. They're just not paying it. In fact, makes them look like a bargain, maybe.
Yeah, it's usually after they've been well established. They've
Yeah.
made the Pro Bowl. Maybe they're on their way to the Hall of Fame, like Travis Kelce. Is very, very people are spending good money on him, but they're not prospecting him.
No, absolutely not. And no, you're right. Football, it seems one thing at least that I have a couple of rules in football collecting. One's I don't judge anybody until 3 healthy years in the league. And then the second is if you've performed great 2 seasons in a row, not 1, but 2. And it seems once they've got that second season under their belt, they get pretty strong. Let's see. That 70s show says Bowman was crippled in the 50s, Pinnacle in the 90s, Fleer in the thousands. Here we are collecting cards in 2023. Panini being crippled. So we see a lot of comments there, and I will agree. It's something that happens quite a bit. I do think this was probably a little bit of a shot to get, obviously, another shot at Panini and everything. And Dr. B, I agree with you. They've got so much legal stuff going on right now. If you follow Paul Lesko's Twitter, he does an update just about every day on all the different cases that they've got going on themselves between the two of them. I don't think they'd really be doing something that bold and that crazy if they really thought it was illegal or anything along those lines. But we got a question from Ziggy No. Do you think Topps is losing money on signing CJ and these quarterbacks to exclusives? You saw that auto drop instantly sell out. So what do you guys think? Are they losing money?
I think his question was rhetorical.
Yes. Yeah.
I think he knows the answer is no, they're not losing money.
Yeah, no. I don't think they're losing money whatsoever.
Even if they occasionally lose some money, they're what we're talking about.
Right.
Driving people to the product. And Drew, I've been waiting for the chance to respond to your strategy about, waiting 2 years.
Let's do it.
And wanting 2 good years from the player. Your strategy is very sound. Okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But most of the hobby is licking their chops, thinking, I'm going to be able to prospect ahead of Drew. Right. Because Drew is going to be slow on the trigger. He's going to lose less, but you're going to miss out sometimes because some of those guys in the first or second year are the real deal. I mean, Pat Mahomes didn't even really emerge, I think, until his second year.
No, I was buying Mahomes cards. I was buying Mahomes rookie Prism Silvers. Well, they were the base that year for $5.
I'm saying you're kind of breaking your own rule in one sense. Now, maybe you're saying that's what you're going to do for the really huge cards.
No, that's what I mean.
Highly speculative, but
yes,
the base and more common things stock up on those, and I think that's what people are doing. But so there's a little nuance to what you're saying.
No, I completely agree.
Player, not general prospecting, but you really believe in your East Carolina Pirate. You're going to jump in there and grab him. You're not going to wait 3 years.
No, I should have clarified. That's more, I was talking along the lines of more of judging the quarterbacks in the NFL market, kind of judging quarterbacks on where they are. No, if I'm doing my general, if I do a lot of flipping and just selling in general, I will sell when they're hot all the time. It's not someone, but I also do a lot of deeper prospecting. NBA, for example, Shea Alexander. I was huge on him his rookie year. Jalen Brunson as well. While everyone was buying the Lucas and the Trays, I was buying those. It was a very long play.
You were telling everybody else to wait 3 years, Drew. That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, I'm saying that's when I buy them, expecting them to be where they are in 3 years, not to wait 3 years to buy them.
Okay.
I'm saying I don't judge the players like if they're a bust or successful, not when I would buy them.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's clarify that. I'm not waiting 3 years to buy them. No, I'm buying them year one. I'm prospecting immediately, but I'm not judging and I'm not taking it into effect anything until at least 3 healthy years in the league.
But you're studying the players, you're studying the cards. It's not indiscriminate. You're a student of the hobby and you're very involved. You're very in the know. And so that will work for you. But other people
Right.
want a shortcut and just think, hey, it's a new quarterback. Yeah, I'm just going to go all in with somebody without really knowing what their situation they're coming into. You put a great quarterback behind a terrible offensive line, and you've got an injured quarterback at the end of the year, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Random esports says football's dangerous. Really need Lamar or Purdy to win the Super Bowl. I would actually agree there. I think one thing the NFL does need is another quarterback outside of Mahomes or someone like that to win a Super Bowl. I think we do need some of these guys that are considered the next up and coming, the next generation to elite. I think some of them do need to get that ring. So I agree. I think the football market the hobby at least, would benefit greatly from someone like that actually getting a ring. But then they got to back it up after they win that ring.
Can we just admire for a moment the kid? I think he was like 12 years old who pulled a Mac Jones 1-of-1 Black Prism and
Yes.
sold it for $100,000
immediately. Like he
Yes.
went right out and did a deal out of the trunk of their van. Beautiful. Yes.
And then the Mac Jones market collapsed completely because Mac Jones is trash.
Yeah.
Patriots fan here.
Sorry.
There you go.
The next Joe Flacco, very elite.
Yes, very, very elite.
Joe Flacco's starting this weekend, isn't he?
He is starting this weekend. We've also got Aaron Rodgers coming back to practice. Do you think he actually touches the field for the Jets? I mean, now granted, if the Jets win
on his face.
Yeah. If the Jets win their next 2 games, then I don't know who they play. I don't follow the Jets at all. But if they were to happen to somehow win their next 2 games, they could still be in playoff contention. So I don't know. Do you think you see Brett Favre back there? Brett Favre. You think you see Brett Favre's second coming, Aaron Rodgers, taking the field this year?
Probably, yeah.
Probably, but I just think some of these elite athletes really come back too soon, especially when they're older. So I think he really has nothing left to prove,
Yeah.
But I think if he can play, he will, because that's what he loves doing.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. We got a question right here from Jay Giuliano asks, what do y'all think the percentage of NFL viewing audience that's also involved with the NFL sports card hobby? It's a very good question. What do you guys think about that? What about in terms of the actual percentage?
Very small. I mean, NFL games get tens of millions of views.
Yes.
I don't know what the number is, but it's tiny.
Say it's 10% that collect cards. I doubt that it's even that really truly collect. But it could be 50% that buy NFL swag.
Right.
From fanatics. And so they've got them on their list. They're going to start promoting them for, hey, we got some cards of your favorite player, your favorite team. That's how they're going to 10x it, guys, because they've already got the enthusiasts that love the sport. And the cards are a tangible expression of that love. So I hope they do it. Because there's a lot of room to go up. A lot of room to go up. Yes.
Keating says less than 1%, which is probably that's where I am too.
I was gonna say we could, and Dr. B used the exact number. I was gonna say you could say maybe 10%.
It's less than 10%, but it's more than 1%.
Yeah, I would guess it's probably around 5, something like that, maybe. But I do think with the fanatics coming in, Dr. B, like you said, I do think we're going to see it increase quite a bit. The amount of marketing that I've seen start to happen has actually been quite impressive. And to see that it's only started, I imagine it's going to ramp up heavily. In the next couple of years, I do think you're going to see that number increase. But in overall viewership, Mike, like you said, NFL is so big that there's so many casual NFL fans that aren't collecting at all. But if you go to the diehards, I'm sure the percentage is quite a bit bigger. But the NFL is so big with just just casual fans that just want to check out a game, that, I definitely would say it's a pretty low percentage.
So what's the percentage of those that bet?
Yeah.
10 or 20%?
60
25%?
No,
I think it's still under 10% too.
that bet, I would say, okay, I was going to go a little higher. I was going to say about 15-20%, I would think. Now,
Well,
And I
in
also
some way.
Well, you've got
right, if you factor fantasy football in there,
formal
maybe.
and informal, and
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. In some way, I don't think 20% are going on to DraftKings or something like that. But if you factor in everything like that, I would assume maybe 15-20% probably bet.
Yeah, I'm a
And I'll
casual
bet you
football.
that number goes up a lot.
I'm a casual football fan, and I do like Super Bowl squares, and I do pick'em pools and things like that with
Yeah.
coworkers, and that you would consider that betting.
Yeah.
you have a financial relationship with the sport.
Yeah.
Fanatics is going to want to turn in, hey, would you like some cards with that?
Yeah.
French fries, bring me a side course of cards.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
And
we
there's
got
a return on cards than there is fantasy. You
Yeah.
still get the enjoyment, and if you have the cards.
Yep. Absolutely. So we've got a couple of questions here in the chat. 1 Million Cubs Project, 17.5 million average viewership on NFL games in September 2023. It's absolutely insane, as we said, quite big. I don't know how many Taylor Swift fans were added to that, but I'm sure quite a bit. Let's see here. We got a couple other ones where we go. Let's see. Stuke says if they can connect cards to fantasy football, they'd hit it big. I agree there. I think there's a lot of areas that could happen in. I think that's a very easy thing to do, and I would expect to see it as more stuff happens.
Well, you could. I mean, there have been other attempts at this, but a modernization of a football TCG.
Yes.
That is achievable, and where where you can play the game, or it's affected by results and all that stuff.
Stratomatic.
That Stratomatic, but that was done at the beginning of the season. This could be a living set.
Yes. No, absolutely. Let's see. That 70s show, fantasy football blows any of these things out of the water. Fanatics would be wise to offer sets depicting your team's roster. I could not agree anymore. I think that is brilliant. Like we were just saying, there's a lot of avenues they could go down to do this, but when you've already got an on-demand system, a now system in place, there is a very easy way to do a Tops Now fantasy set that's curated for you through things like that. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I think, things like that, I hope, they promise innovation. They promise a lot of new innovation. This is the type of stuff that's going to get there. This is the type of stuff that's going to bridge that gap. Someone might only want the cards for their fantasy team 1 year, but I don't know, a year later, they might looking at them so much, they might be buying hobby boxes. You never know. You might be buying singles off ComC and eBay. Who knows? So I love that idea. I think that's great. Tops Now where you get your player of the week. I love it. I think that's a wonderful idea. And I think that's something that, that they need to do, because like we were talking about before, that percentage is small, but that percentage is small because of how big the total number is. The NFL hobby is quite huge. I just think that there's a lot of room to make it a lot bigger. And as I think it grows, it also does help those other positional players. If you start doing stuff like this with fantasy football sets, if you take that idea into it, you're looking at, okay, in fantasy football, the quarterback's normally, he's putting up points, but he's normally not your go-to guy that's winning you the week. So if you're collecting those cards, you're collecting cards of positional players. So
Okay,
right
guys. So, Cowboys are doing better this year. Dak is supposedly having a great year. But is there more money going into Dak, the quarterback, or CeeDee Lamb? Neither one of them are rookies this year. I bet there's more money going into CeeDee Lamb than there is to Dak.
I would agree. 100% there.
Why do you think that is?
Do what?
Dak is old news. Dak
Yeah.
is considered old. He's 30.
Well, yeah, I think the reason is because CD hasn't had those down years. CD's just continued to get better, and he's continued to get better while he plays with this guy. So I mean, if he just continues to get better, we've seen Dak go up and way down, and then up and down and up and down, and then way down and way up. You know, he's been that roller coaster. At a point, collectors get that fatigue where they say, "Okay, I'm tired of." It's the Michael Porter Jr. effect, you know. For every year for about 5 years around Father's Day, everyone wanted Michael Porter Jr. Then he got hurt. You know, it just kept happening. So I think they're just tired on Dak.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I just Googled CD Lamb. I feel like I've been hearing about him for a decade, and I was surprised to find that he's only 24.
Yes. Oh yeah, very young. Very, very, very young. And I think 100% collectors have just soured. And that's a great point, Dr. Jim, that I do think a lot more is pouring into CD right now. And I think CD is a great investment. The kid's amazing. And I like seeing, you've seen Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, all these guys are really starting to actually have some value. Now, there's a lot of guys that don't really hold value that I think should, the AJ Browns and things like that, but I just don't think it's that wide yet, you know, with chasing after those guys, but that's where buying opportunities arise. But I do think you're seeing a lot more going into those guys right now.
Well, that suggests that we could go through the NFL and for each team, for non-rookies, who's the most collectible player? And
Yeah.
it's usually a quarterback, but I bet it's not always a quarterback.
No, not always. It can't always be a quarterback. It can't be like on let's see, the Bears, the Commanders, things like that.
How about
Yeah,
the Browns?
exactly. Exactly. Mad City Brew, you should sell your CD patch rookie card then now. I don't know. I don't know. It really depends. I haven't watched his market a lot, but I think there's a lot of room for him to continue to grow. All depends on what Dallas is going to do the rest of the year. But CD seems to be one of those guys that's a little invincible no matter what. He seems to score even when they lose. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Bob Boozle, that would be a fun one. Yep, we'll get a bunch of YouTubers on that. It would be interesting to go through every single team and see who the most collectible player was, Dr. B. That's a really good one. Guys, we got about 15 minutes left here in the show. Please call in if you'd like. Drop us any questions in the chat. There was a question earlier. I'm gonna find it real quick. Believe it was, yes, from TCD Cards. Thoughts on the baseball card market moving drastically with the 2023 MLB winter meetings starting Monday. So obviously Ohtani and a lot of other people, you know, possibly on the move. What do you guys think about the baseball market? We're going to see a pretty big shakeup?
Not a big shakeup, except in certain guys who are going from smaller teams to bigger teams. So Ohtani will go to a bigger team that's more likely to go to the playoffs. People will end up buying more of his cards. I'm kind of out of baseball mode right now, but anybody else who's going to get signed by the Yankees from a big team, from a small team, is going to go, their cards will go up in value.
Yep.
And then you've got guys that are coming over from Japan that have just been posted. Once their cards get released, I think that you'll probably find people going and buying their Japanese cards now. Cheating.
I know. Sorry. Oh, yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I don't think there's going to be a huge shakeup. I mean, in terms of the hobby, I could see it. Obviously, there's going to be some movement and everything, but I don't think it's going to be anything major, at least along those lines. Let's see. Hammer 44, going back to fantasy football. And I like this idea. Fantasy football certainly changed the way I watch NFL games. Now I follow players over teams. I think this is a factor in how we also spend money in the hobby. I would absolutely agree. I'm a Panther season ticket holder since day one, and I definitely collect stuff that is not Panthers. And I definitely follow certain players. And a lot of it does have to do with I don't know, people that I like to bet on, people that I like to use in prop bets, things like that. So I do think it has an impact.
Well, collections have gotten smaller and smaller. I mean, basically, we went from having a big collection with completing sets to then team collecting, and now I think it's pretty much player collecting. And you're encouraged to think of having a small and more elite collection of your favorite player, not this vast notebooks full of base cards for your favorite player. It's more curated, more vetted. And so, or you could have more than one favorite player, but there's not that many people doing the teams. Bo's on this with the million Cubs, which I think he's probably achieved now, but that's rare. I think that's the exception. Now I got my players.
Yep.
I think Bo's right at 990. Last I saw.
He's intentionally staying at 990 so he can.
Well, I read on Twitter last week that he wants the last card, the millionth card, to be either a specific card or a specific player. I'm sure he'll comment and say.
Well, it's still an amazing feat.
Yeah. He posted pictures of what appeared to be a warehouse of his collection. And somebody asked, if I ask you for a certain card, can you pull it out? And he said it might take him a short time, but yes, which is staggering because I have a small fraction of 1 million cards and I couldn't pull out a card if you asked me to.
It's 200 super monster boxes. 205,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that would fill up it's more than fills up a car. That's for sure. It fills fill up a room. That's a lot of weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 2 tons, by the way.
So we did. Logan asks, what about these Lorcana cards? Another Lorcana set came out this week, and it's in heavy demand again. It's also in a big court battle with Upper Deck right now, with basically the designer of doing something very similar. So there's trademark issues and all these fights going on over this set. What do you guys think about Lorcana and the new release? You guys into the non-sport TCG world at all?
Not at all. I know nothing about it.
All I know is a lot of people are hyped about it, and a lot of people collect it. I see it a lot at Collecticon. I know Disney's obviously the one behind it, so they're pumping a lot. And you think of Fanatics, you've got Disney behind this one, so a lot of people seem to be going after it. We did have a question, and this goes back to baseball and what we're talking about at the winter meetings. If Ohtani signs with a team like the Blue Jays, what do you think that does to his market?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. But
right, no, me neither. I think he's saying maybe not one of those top market
uptick.
Okay,
maybe.
I think you can't go down from the Angels personally. I mean, I think no matter where he goes, you're going up.
Dodgers or Yankees?
Mariners. Yeah.
Mariners. Yeah. But maximum value, I think, is Dodgers, Yankees.
Yeah.
Hobby value. Rangers, I'd love to have the Rangers. They've been spending money the last few years, but that might be a big check to write.
Mike Moynihan, who's in the chat, thinks that he's going to the Rangers.
Hey, I would like that a lot.
Okay.
Not a homer at all.
Thanks, Mike. Okay.
Yeah. I would like it. I mean, we're Hickory Crawdad fans and season ticket holders. That's their low A affiliate. So we're default Ranger fans. At least my little boy is. So I'd be happy with it. But yes, Hammer 44 brings up a great point. No matter where he signs, it brings an entire nation following him. And that is completely true. Just like Sadaharu O and people like him in the past, that international following and that effect is massive. As someone that does a lot, I can tell you, at least in terms of grading and things like that, the amount of stuff overseas that we get in at our company simply of Ohtani and of his early Japanese stuff is huge. So that international market is absolutely massive, and it just keeps growing. So I do agree. Wherever he goes, he's going to bring a pretty big market with him. Thank you, Kyle Katz. Rarely get to catch Hobby Hotline live. Always enjoy your insights on replay. Thank you guys very much. Otani to the Marlins. I don't know. I've heard you just want Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp merchandise. All right. All right. So, guys, if you do have any questions before we wrap up the show, please let us know. We'd love to answer any that you have. Yes, maybe this is Savannah Bananas. Anywhere is possible, buddy. Anywhere is possible. But before we wrap up, we do have a couple of things. Mike obviously said this was your last Hobby Hotline. Yeah. So I was unaware of this. And we've had a couple of people in the chat ask what's going on, what's next for you, where are you going. So let's take a few moments and at least address that, because I think I've seen like 7 or 8 people ask.
I saw one, so thanks. I am going nowhere. I'm just sticking with my channel. And I think this has been fun, but I don't follow a lot of the industry stuff. So sometimes we'll start talking about, we'll talk about the upcoming topics, and I'll be like, I haven't even heard of this. So at first it was really cool, and everybody's really nice and really, really smart about the industry. But it didn't feel like the best fit for me. And I'm still doing Hobby Think Tank, which is also on this channel, which I really enjoy a lot too.
Yes,
mostly because Mike told me I had to.
Nice. Understandable. Which by the way, Hobby Think Tank on the Bench Clear channel. Check that out. One of my favorites. Love that show. So I'm glad you're still going to be doing that, because a lot of really good information on that show, guys. Highly recommend checking that out.
Cyber Fanatics. Yeah. Hobby Think Tank. I've been doing it for 11 months. I committed to a year, and now I'm going for more, because I don't see myself leaving that anytime soon.
Weren't you just on Mike Summers' Waxpack Hero?
Nope, not that I know of.
I thought he interviewed you.
He did an AI.
Did somebody impersonate me?
Wow.
Deep fake.
Well, okay.
Keating. Hobby Think Tank is overrated. When he's not on, it's overrated.
Random Esports, who has the biggest baseball podcast? Oh gosh, I don't know. There's so many. I have no idea.
Baseball or baseball cards?
Yeah. Big difference. Let's see. Getting prepped for Mike on Market Mover Show.
No. Somebody said I'm cutting back on my shows, only 10 a week.
Yeah.
I cap out at 5 a week.
Nice. All right. Well, man, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, they interviewed Junk Wax Heroes. Great Twitter account, by the way. Junk Wax Heroes.
Oh, sorry.
Unrelated to me.
Well, that's confusing. Okay.
It is. Yeah. We agree.
That is confusing.
Explains why your voice was different now.
I would actually love to change my channel name, but my subscribers insist that I keep it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. There you go. All right, guys. Well, before we wrap up the show, let everybody tell everybody what you guys got going on. Dr. B, what's going on?
Just slowly cranking out a few podcasts. That's my main thing. I go to the Dallas shows and enjoy that, and enjoying interviewing people and dealing with interesting topics. Got a bunch coming with Rich, which everybody likes. Even my wife, her favorite podcaster is Rich, not me, I think. So get him on and enjoy the banter.
Absolutely. Mike, I know you got all of your big shows that we just talked about coming on. So all of those going on. And we've also got over here, let me get that potograph every week. Everything over on YouTube and all the socials. Make sure to check those out. New series up on Hobby News Daily also. Called Iconic Inserts, where I'm taking a look at all old school inserts and kind of giving you a breakdown and a history lesson on those. So check that out also. least for the shameless plug. But guys, make sure there's a lot of great shows this weekend. If you're hitting up Philly, if you're hitting up Denver, I know there's a bunch throughout the whole country this week and a lot of them next week. If you're going to the Raleigh show, make sure to let me know. I'll be down there. Would love to see some of you guys. But thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of Hobby Hotline. We will, of course, be back next week every single Saturday at 11 a.m. and the first Tuesday of every single month at 9 p.m. But Dr. B, Mike, thank you guys so much for joining the show today.
Thanks,
See you
Drew.
guys.
Thanks,
See
Mike.
y'all later.